Okay, so the tool that I developed for this project in order to ingest a lot of rocks or stuff from scans is the asset ingestor. So let's give it a try and ingest this stone wall. So the way it works is that if you Control C, once you ingest this with Megascan, you get to install this plugin before using it, is that you can go into the asset ingester. If you, in order for this to be created, I created an HDAA, and then you and then you plug in this node, this reference inside this asset ingester. As you can see, this is creating a wall. In some cases, it could be glitchy, like here. It's all depending on the displacement settings. Not always this is going to work from -0 to 0.5. So perhaps I could use 0 to 1 and the displacement is fixed. I could increase the displacement even more. In fact, this could even be changed to the values that you please. For instance, it could be 1 to 0 to invert it and see what happens. But I guess 0 to 1 works as for now. So this is very interesting because it's already changing the material from a standard surface to a material X. Let me show you in Solaris how it looks. The good thing about this is that if you have a library, you can connect it to the library. For example, this one. If I were to look at it, you need to open a database file. Go to T, open visuals, look at the database. These are all the assets we do have at the moment. And let's try to ingest this one. So the workflow for this would be to just remove these guys and look for a nice picture for this. So I like this picture. Let's take a screenshot of this. You need to generate a thumbnail. Then you need to save to disk. Now this is saved with the textures and all. Then you need to add to asset gallery. And you will see it is here. Now we can access it, for example, with the layout node. And you can drag and drop. And you can start placing the walls. See, now we have the wall right here. So this is the asset, I placed 2. So how does this work under the hood? Let's open this. There are a couple of settings, but the one I'm going to show you is the one on the left, which is for packs and singular assets. So let's have a look on how this looks after loading it with a reference. If I load this with a reference, let's go into the file pattern and look for this. This is an asset, and this asset is called this one modular stone wall, and it is the modular stone wall USD. So you will see this has the geo, the material, and the sim proxy. And inside the geo, you have the proxy and the render. These are 2 different versions. This is the proxy, and this is the render. As you can see, they differ in amount of polygons. So with that being, what we are doing here is to fetch. We're fetching this asset. As you can see, I'm just taking the path and doing a couple more things to actually get this shape. We are doing a connectivity, so we know how many objects do we have. We're promoting the class, and we're saying how many objects do we have. In this case, I believe we have 2 objects. And we're blasting. We're blasting based on the first one we want to keep. So we are getting the class that we have right now, which is the class 0, and we're promoting the name. The name is going to be called modular stone wall variation 0, because this is only an asset. It doesn't have any variance in this case. And we're also doing a poly reduce for the proxy and the sim proxy. And we're connecting this. The way to get these nodes is to do a component builder. The component builder has the component geometry, the materials, and the way to connect both of these to get together, plus a way to save it into the gallery and get the renders and all all the variants working together. What I did here is to automate this, and it can actually detect how many variants you have. If you have more variants, the second variant will just do the following. It will just choose the variant that it has. In this case, if, for example, variant 3. So right now we're selecting the asset, and some assets do have different pieces, but usually when you have in bridge an asset, for example, with a lot of rigs, I can export this to give it a try. You will see that it, well, not this one. Let's go for another one. You will see that, for instance, these rocks come with a lot of LODs inside. And this is called a pack. So if you go inside this geometry, we can select the pack. We can go into the stone set, and you will see now we have a rock. Now, this rock, I already have it, and I already have it configured in a different way, which is -0.5, 2.5. This is how it looks. And if I were to select this, I already saved it. This is under packs. And let's say I want a small stone pack, which is this one. You will see we'll have a rock. And if we right click here, we can change to variation number 1. And we change it, and we can select another variation, and so forth, so on and so forth. So what I am doing right now is to get the first one. This is the first one I'm getting. The one is going to be shown as variation 0, and then each other. It will be detected based on the amount of max class plus 1, which was got from here. So now that we have that, we can dive in. This is the same process, but look, this is for each, and what I'm doing is to just loop between the component geometry variants. The component geometry variants is adding the first one to the second one. Remember that we are labeling this with the iteration value, and the variant is the iteration value again, which is this one. This is like the iteration detail from the for each inside subs. It is a similar concept. Once it goes from here, we are going to set the variant to the variant 0, because it's the one we actually want to look at. And we're going to create the materials. The materials, what all I'm doing here is to reference from set object, and I'm getting the base color texture. So which object is this one? Well, basically, if we go into objects, I'm going into the modular stone wall, and I'm getting from this guy, I'm diving in and getting, for example, this name, base color underscore texture. I'm getting this parameter. I'm just copy and pasting all this as a relative reference. Remember, this could have been done in Python, but I just didn't do it in Python. I'm getting the name, and then I'm just looking for the name plus the asset material and the base color texture as a reference and a relative path. I'm doing the same for other textures, and then it's just getting out ingested into the variant name called Mossy Stone Pack. This is the variant name from the material. Then I'm just adding a simple light so we can look at the asset better. And inside here, we are then going to be saving this into disk, add to gallery, and also at the bottom we have the generate thumbnail. The only thing that is changing here is the location, which is in my case is the path that I chose, plus the name of the object, plus the file name. And the file name will be equals to the name, which is basically this one, which is the replace of the root print, which is this one is the root print. As you can see, they are just the same. It's just adding one thing on top of the other. And that's how it was made.